"22 years old, Amira, British-born Somali, Muslim, woman, daughter of immigrants. She carries all these as questions, not answers. At work in central London, she's the only hijabi in the room. She translates, not just languages, but codes. She explains Ramadan to colleagues who think it's extreme. She laughs at jokes that sting. She makes herself small, unthreatening, palatable. At home in her family's flat in Tower Hamlets, she bridges her parents' Mogadishu ways from Somalia and her London. She translates government letters, council tax notices, NHS appointments, explains why she can't marry the good Somali boy from the community, why she needs space, why she's exhausted. With her friends, other young British Muslims navigating the same tightrope, she code switches again. Not Somali enough, not British enough, not Muslim enough, not modern enough. She learned to perform each version flawlessly. Everyone thinks she has it together, the good daughter, the successful one, the bridge builder, but inside, collapsing. Because the news never stops. Reform UK rising in the polls, riots in the north targeting Muslims, politicians debating whether she belongs here, street harassment has gotten worse since the election. And the question pounds in her chest like a drum she can't silence. Which culture am I from? Where do I belong? Who am I, really? Which version of me gets to be real? She tries to answer by being more professional so they can't dismiss her, more dutiful to her parents so she didn't feel she's abandoning them, more accommodating so no one calls her aggressive or radical, more invisible on the street so she's safe, fighting battles that aren't her, proving her right to exist in a country where half the people want her gone. The trying never stops, and she doesn't know how much longer she can do this. Then one night, scrolling through Instagram after another day of performance, she sees something, claiming Camelot, a rite of passage for cross-cultural kids. Your in-betweenness is not a problem to solve, it is sacred. She almost scrolls past another thing to excel at, another space where she can prove herself. But something in those words stops her. Sacred, not broken, not a problem, sacred. She reads it again and her chest tightens. Tears she's been holding start to surface. What if? She applies, not because she believes it will work, but she is simply tired of living like this. 2 weeks later, Amira sits in a circle with 15 young people she's never met, but she recognizes them instantly. The Syrian refugee who fled war, carrying trauma and translation. The British-Nigerian adoptee who doesn't speak Yoruba, split between black and white worlds. The British-Pakistani trans man navigating family, identity and mosque. The mixed-race Irish-Jamaican kid who's not black enough, not white enough. The British-Chinese student whose parents still call England the West, like they're just visiting. Each of them carries a sword they never chose. The guide, a British-Indonesian man named Angga, who speaks like he knows the landscape intimately, tells them they are here to do something ancient and radical. To stop fighting, to lay down the swords, to ask a different question. He tells them a story, not the King Arthur story from school or the movies, the one about destiny and heroism, pulling sword from the stones to prove that you're special. A different telling. In the old stories, he says, Arthur is hidden, displaced, raised by strangers. He doesn't know who he is. He's an outsider. And the sword in the stone is not about being chosen. It's about recognizing what's already true. That in the land, the realm, the living world knows you, even when humans don't. Many of the characters you might relate to. Merlin, who lives between two worlds, mortal and magical. He's never fully one thing. His power comes from that in-betweenness. Morgan Le Fay shapeshifts. Lancelot is the foreigner who becomes essential. Genevieve holds multiple loves, multiple loyalties, refuses to choose. Amira feels something crack open. These aren't heroes. They are us. The round table, Angakara continues, is sacred because no one sits at the head. Everyone belongs equally, not despite the differences, but because of them. It only works when the outsiders are centered. Then he asks, what sword are you carrying that you never asked to hold? Silence. Then someone speaks. I'm carrying my parents' refugee trauma. Every time I rest, I feel guilty. Another. I'm carrying the expectations to be the bridge, the translator, the cultural ambassador. I'm so tired. Amira's turn, her voice shakes. I'm carrying everyone's fear. My parents' fear of losing me to this country. White Britain's fear that I don't belong. My community's fear that I'm not Muslim enough. Anger speaks again. Tomorrow you'll cross a threshold. You'll go alone into the woods of Glastonbury, the ancient Isle of Avalon, where Arthur is healed after his final battle. For 6 hours you'll practice something our ancestors knew. Deep listening, feeling into a relationship with a world that's alive, not a metaphor, as a reality. Amira nods, but she's terrified. She's a young Muslim woman in the current climate with Reform UK rhetoric, with street harassment, rising hostility. She learns that open spaces aren't safe, parks aren't safe, countryside is definitely not safe. Being visible and alone makes her a target, and now she's supposed to go into the woods? Alone? The next morning, she stands at the edge of the woodland. The group walks together to the threshold, then each person goes alone. Amira takes a breath, steps forward. The city noise fades behind her. Bird song rises. The air smells like earth and rain and something older than words. She's crossing into Avalon. Amira walks into the woods alone. At first, every sound makes her jump. Rustling in the undergrowth. Is someone there? Footsteps behind her, and she spins around. Nothing. Just trees. Just birds. The guide, Angakara, told them, this practice means feeling into a relationship with a world that's alive. Not believing in it intellectually, feeling it. The trees are conscious. The water is listening. The earth is your elder. You are not separate from this. You're in conversation. Amira didn't understand, but now, standing here, she begins to, and notices a leaf spiraling down, not random, moving in a pattern like a dance, like a prayer, like it knows something about falling that she needs to learn. She notices a spider web, strung between branches, dewdrops caught in the silk. Each drop holds a whole world, trees reflected, sky, and her own face distorted and small. The web trembles with her breath. She's connected to it. Her breath moves the web responds. Relationship. And she notices fungus growing on a dying tree trunk. Delicate, intricate, more complex than lace. Not decay, but transformation. A bird lands near her, cocks his head, looks directly at her with one bright eye. And she actually feels, seen by the bird. Not as a human looking at an animal, as a being meeting beings. Something in her chest loosens. She finds a log covered in soft moss and sits. Simply sits and breathes. At first, her mind races. I should be doing something. I'm wasting my time. What if I'm doing this wrong? She touches the earth with her palms and she swears she feels it. A pulse, a warmth, like the soil is breathing, like the ground is alive. Because it is. It's alive. She's touching a living being. What power is mine to keep? The guide asked them to hold this question. But she doesn't know how to answer, so she just sits with it and lets it be unanswered. Then she sees it. A fallen branch on the ground, shaped exactly like a sword. At first she thinks it's a coincidence, but the longer she looks, the heavier it feels, like it's been waiting for her. She walks over, she stands and picks it up. And the moment her hands close around it, the weight hits her Not the weight of the wood, the weight of everything she's been carrying. Faces flash in her mind. Her boss at work dismissing her idea in the meeting, talking over her, then later asking her to be the voice of diversity on a panel she doesn't want to be on. Her father's face when she wasn't ready to marry yet. The disappointment, the unspoken shame that she's too British, too modern, losing the culture. The man on the tube last week who told her to go back where you came from. She's never been to Somalia. She was born in East London. The imam at the mosque asking her why she's not there more, implying she's not devout enough, while the community of aunties whisper about her working with men, not being married, and about her wearing jeans under her abaya. The news headlines that makes her feel haunted, the political rhetoric that makes her existence debatable, the constant low-grade terror of being visible and Muslim and woman in a country that decided that she's the problem. All of it, all the swords, all the battles, all the proving. She's been swinging weapons she never chose, fighting wars that was never hers. Tears come now, hot, angry, exhausted tears. She stands there in the forest, holding this branch sword, shaking. And she realizes, I am done. She kneels slowly, ceremonially, like she's in a mosque, but not praying to God. She's speaking to the earth. She lays down the branch sword down on the ground, her hands open, release. She speaks out loud with voice cracking, I am done. I am done proving. I am done performing. I am done fighting. I don't want these swords. I never wanted them. What power is mine to keep? The forest doesn't answer with words, but something happens. The light shifts, golden warmth pouring through the trees like the forest is leaning in, witnessing this moment, celebrating her. The birds sing louder, like a chorus. She stays kneeling for a long time, crying, breathing, being held by the earth, and something ancient that the ancestors knew, that she's forgotten in all the performing and surviving, and something comes back. The world is alive and it loves me, not because I'm special, because I'm alive. And I belong to this web of life, because the trees and the soil and the water and the birds, they know me as they kin. And she finally stands, her body feels different, lighter, grounded, and the sword is still on the ground. She doesn't pick it up. She walks back to the group, empty-handed, but full. That evening, the circle gathers around the fire. One by one, participants return from their solo quest. Some are crying, laughing, silent, still processing. Something's changed. When Amira's turn, she stands, not performing, simply present. She tells him about the sword, about laying it down, about the earth holding her. And she says words she's never been able to say before. I'm done proving my right to exist. Her voice doesn't shake, not asking for permission, she's stating the truth. Later, after the stories has been told and the tears has been shed and the fire is burning low, the guide Angakara comes to Amira, holding something in his hands, a small stone from Glastonbury Tor. You laid down the sword, he says. This is yours to keep. Not a weapon you swing, simply a reminder of groundedness, presence, being. Amira takes the stone. It is small, weathered, solid, ancient. It holds the weight of the Tor, the weight of the land, the weight of all the ancestors that have ever walked on this earth knowing they belong. She holds it and understands. This is my power. Over the next few weeks in the integration circles, something profound happens. The group, these 15 young people from everywhere and nowhere, becomes a round table, not metaphorically, actually. They sit in a circle, no one at the head. Each person's voice matters. Each person's complexity is honoured. Months later, on a bright Saturday afternoon, Amira is sitting under an oak tree in Victoria Park in East London. Her 13-year-old cousin, Sophia, sits next to her, sceptical, arms crossed. She's already learning to carry swords, already performing. Why did you bring me to the park? Sophia asked, annoyed. It's boring here. Amira smiles. Let me tell you a story. She tells Sophia about claiming Camelot. There's an old legend, Amira says, about the Isle of Avalon, a mystical place where magic still works. And some people say it's in Glastonbury, and I went there. Sophia looks up, interested. You went to a mystical place? 6 hours alone in the forest. Sophia's eyes widen. Weren't you scared? Alone? You're where... She doesn't finish, but Amira knows what she means. We're Muslim women, and we're not supposed to be alone in wild places. I was terrified, Amira admits, but I learned something. That the wild isn't the same as the street. The trees doesn't care about your hijab. The trees doesn't care about politics. The land just receives you. She tells Sophia about finding the branch shaped like a sword, realizing that she's been carrying everyone's expectations, fears, about laying it down. And then what happened? Sophia asks, leaning in. The earth held me, Amira says simply. I felt it. The ground was alive. The trees were alive. Not in a weird way, but in a real way, like they were my family. She opens her palm, the stone from Glastonbury tour, sits there, small and ancient. The guide gave me this, and he said it's about groundedness, about being instead of doing. Sophia reaches out, touches the stone with one finger, and her face softens. Does it work? She says quietly. Like, do you actually feel different? Amira looks at her cousin, this young girl who's already learning to split herself, to perform, to carry swords. Yes, Amira says, I do. I'm not perfect. I still get tired. I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not trying to choose between being Somali or British or Muslim or modern. I'm just all of it, and it's okay. Sophia's quiet for a long time. Then ask, can I go on this quest thing? Amira smiles. When you're ready, when you're old enough, yeah. Amira thinks about the documentary being made, about the other young people from claiming Camelot, and all going back to their lives, all modelling this change for their communities, about the wildlife trusts and environmental organisations who want to learn more about this, about Vision Quest guides all over the world who are watching this to see if it works, about the possibility, radical, impossible but beautiful vision of the UK where young people that don't fit are centred, where the countryside isn't white, where nature isn't property, where the land belongs to everyone who's alive, regardless of passport or skin colour or religion or how long your family's been there, where the countryside isn't white, where nature isn't property, where the land belongs to everyone who's alive, regardless of passport or skin colour or religion or how long your family's been there. And somewhere across London, England, and across all the in-between spaces where young people are learning to lay down swords they never asked to hold.